How shaken was this parish by what happened?
I don't know that yet. I mean, I know some of it, but when I first got here, the first Sunday that I was here, I told people, as I introduced myself, and I had been here before, by the way. I had lived here before, but not as pastor, that I told people that I don't know right now what they need. And so it's important for them to let me know what that is so that we could do something about it. And for probably about the first 2.5 months, I had heard things third and fourth hand, but had not heard anything directly. Now, just in this last half month, a couple things happened. That we had a pastoral council meeting at which people began to speak. And after that meeting, an individual called and began to tell me the experience that that person had. And we had the opportunity, and I think that Cameraman was there, and I think you interviewed the bishop after the meeting at Our Lady of Peace, that a few of the people from here, from St. Anthony of Padua, who had gone to that meeting, were able to have the opportunity to get up and speak, excuse me, to speak about what it was that they had experienced. So now people are beginning to speak out a bit, and so I'm beginning to understand where the need is and what the need is. Mm-hmm. And so one of the ways to respond to that has been that, in fact, I began talking to the people at the Crime Victim Center in Erie even before I got here, just because I know the executive director there, and I knew that help was offered. And so we have established already, it's a week from Thursday, November 8th, there'll be a listening session here with some counselors from the Crime Victim Center. And I've been told, too, that because we're in Crawford County, that Crawford County would be involved, too. They've also offered to even send down on a regular basis, on a weekly basis even, if it were needed, a counselor, so that anyone could come and talk. And what would they talk about? Well, I think, that the pastor here was someone, as anywhere else, someone in whom they put a great deal of trust, and others may be able to speak to that more than I would, the parishioners here.
To what extent has the trust or the faith been shaken?
Well, I would think, and you mentioned, you met our secretary. Actually, I didn't introduce her, but you saw our secretary when you came in. She's been here for a number of years and knows the pulse of the community rather well. And she told me that the reason at first that people weren't speaking to me was because they were afraid. But in talking to some other priests who had been in similar situations as I am now, that especially one who had been at St. Matthew's a number of years ago, said that no, it's not a matter of people being afraid, it's a matter of not trusting. And that's responding to your question, mm-hmm. that there is, understandably, there is a loss of trust. And so it's going to take a while, not just a few months, in my case, but it's going to take a while for that to be reestablished. And I think it will be. And faith shaken, I know that, and it wasn't necessarily as a result of the removal of David Poulson, but more so that there were 3 young men, I know of at least 3, who were subpoenaed by the grand jury just to see what their experience was. And I think that experience, and at least in one case, has traumatized that one. And when I say young men, they're probably late teens to early 20s. Mm-hmm. That was a difficult experience, and I know that they're having questions about the practice of their faith now.
I have to ask, when I assume it was the bishop came to you and said, "Guess what? We've got a job for you." What is your reaction?
Initially?
Yes.
My reaction initially was, I'm fine where I am. I was at St. Francis Xavier in McCain, which is in isn't that far from here. And in fact, I was anticipating that would be my last assignment before retirement. But the bishop did give me a weekend to think about it and to pray about it. And in the whole discernment process, at least as it unfolded for me, the bishop's reasons for my coming here were much better than my reasons for staying where I was. And so, I said yes. My initial reaction was, was not, oh, why me? I guess, in a sense. But in coming back here, and it's, again, just been through months, and that may seem chronologically to be a long time, but it really isn't. Just a very short time so far to get used to get into parish life, and to allow the people to come to know me as I get to know them. That's certainly going to take a little bit of time. But being here now, I certainly don't regret the decision. So I did have some voice in making the decision to come here. And as I said, I had been here before. I had lived here for 5 years when I was full-time campus minister at Edinburgh University, and so came to know the people a little bit.
What if you had an opportunity to say something? I mean, is there anything you would say to David Poulson, knowing the people here now a little, at least a little bit?
Well, probably just reiterating what he already knows, and that is that the people here are hurt and they're disappointed, and they have, lost some trust because of that. Because they saw him as a very spiritual and very caring pastor.
Mm-hmm. Does it make you as a priest, sad when people
all
question
of this
things?
does.
I mean, when people, just the after effect.
All of this does, certainly. Yes, that it would ever happen in the first place, that there would ever be a priest or a pastor, in the some 70 years that the grand jury investigation covered, that there would ever be someone who would use their position and their power to take advantage of someone else, whether it be a young person or anyone, but especially those who are young. I mean, they're the people who are vulnerable, people who are preteen and teen. They are most vulnerable and don't understand necessarily what it is that's happening in their lives, because they're at a developmental stage where even their brains are certainly not fully developed yet. And I think that I am saddened by something like that. Yes.
Obviously, when like I was a kid, and when my parents were kids, the parish priest was all powerful.
Yes.
There was no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
You trembled a little when he walked through the hallways of the school.
Right.
But now, I guess I would ask you. Maybe it's a good thing that the scary part is gone. But do you ever see a time when there's that, or do you ever see that kind of like absolute trust ever coming back? And is that a bad thing, one way or the other?
Well, I would say that in terms of what you described in the past, the all-powerful pastor, I hope that never comes back. And in fact, in the letter that Pope Francis wrote to the people and the bishops of the United States after the Pennsylvania grand jury report came out, he talked about clericalism and about that kind of abuse of power. And I think it still exists in the church today, and it exists in other places too. But I hope that never comes back. But trust, absolute trust, I don't know that's, whenever you use the word absolute,
True.
I don't know that would ever happen. But trust, yes, I think that will be reestablished at some point. Months? No. Years? Maybe. In my lifetime? I hope.